Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hangout with Charles podcast. I have been MIA, and as they say, life has been lifing, but I'm back and I hope to be consistent. So settle in. My name is CHELS Charles, and this episode is titled I Build Mountains. You know how to build mountains out of molehills. Expert builder, that's who I am. Someone recently asked me what my pet peeves were. As always, I could tell they expected something light, maybe loud chewing, bad drivers, not meeting my belongings where I kept them. My siblings can testify to this. It irritates me. Or an untidy space. But the truth is, the things that get to me the most don't always look like much on the surface. I call them the little things that wound and create scars. The things like a promise not kept, a feeling brushed aside, a subtle look, or an often comment that lingers longer than it should. And you might wonder, is a promise not kept a little thin? I don't think it is. But when you break it down into, I'll call you back, or I'll be there at 4, they sound small. Still, they carry the weight of trust. And when they are dropped casually or often, that trust starts to fracture. But here's the uncomfortable truth: I'm not always on the receiving end. I've been on the giving end as well. I've broken promises. I've forgotten to follow through, dismissed feelings, ignored people and situations because, truthfully, it was just easier to do. And I've come to realize that sometimes the things we despise most in others are simply reflections of what lives quietly in us too. And so I build mountains out of these moments, layering one small hut over another, high enough to justify the walls I place between myself and others. The urge to protect myself from these little things is strong. I've often called it wisdom, but lately I have come to see it for what it truly is: fear dressed up in caution. Recently, I was listening to a sermon by Father Mike Schmitz, and he said something that hit me really, really hard. Trust comes as a result of vulnerability, and vulnerability as a result of honesty. And just like that, it clicked. I am the least vulnerable person I know. Everything I share is filtered through comfort. I present the version of me I have already made peace with, the parts I have decided are safe for public consumption, not the whole of me. I don't mind being open as long as I'm in control of what's being shared. For the longest time, I've held a distorted view of vulnerability, believing that people can hurt you with the ammunition you give them. And this distorted view is rooted in fear. The fear that if people saw the whole me, they wouldn't like or accept me. They would see through the facade and recognize that I am just a shadow, not the substance. And here's the thing: people often open up to me. They share and they trust me with their vulnerabilities, but I often find it hard to do the same. I'm always in control of what is shared, what is seen. I can't quite bring myself to let go of the fear that they will see me as too much or that I won't be enough. And maybe these fears are not entirely valid, but they feel real. I have convinced myself that if I show too much, if I let down my guard completely, I will expose something unworthy or too fragile to be accepted. The deeper truth I have hidden from myself is that this fear of rejection and judgment has kept me from fully accepting myself, let alone allowing others to do the same. But I deviate back to the little things. What I'm learning to do in those moments when something small hits hard is to whisper to myself, let it go. Let it go. It sounds easy enough, but it really is. Sometimes I'm too hot to let go. Other times I can logically see that the issue isn't worth the emotional investment. Still, I hesitate. Maybe you're wondering, wouldn't it be better to just talk about these things? Doesn't this lead to resentment? But here's the thing, I don't hold grudges. Or rather, I try not to hold grudges. When I say let it go, I mean it. But having a conversation, now that's the hard part. Because I've had moments when I've tried to express my feelings and the response I got was, is it this small thing that's making you upset? And that just stings in a different way. So I retreat. I deal internally. But I know this isn't openness, it's not trust. It is protection masquerading as this. Still, I'm not painting everyone with the same brush. I am deeply, profoundly grateful for the gift of men, for the friendships that hold space for me to be, for Mary, for all my friends, and for the cat, especially the cat. These are people with whom I don't have to perform, who let me show up raw or soft or broken or unsure. Their friendship is grace in motion. And even then, even with these safe spaces, I still wrestle. I still have to remind myself it is okay. It's really okay. There is no shame here. There is no judgment here. There is acceptance here. And guys, it's not acceptance that allows me to remain as I am, but an acceptance that allows me to become a better version of myself. And maybe that's why this episode exists. Maybe it's an invitation for you to reflect on your friendships, to reflect on the parts of you that you are allowing the world to see. Maybe it's time to ask yourself if you're holding space for others to be. Maybe it's time to ask yourself, why do you need the walls? Why are you a builder? Maybe it's time to break down those walls and allow people in. And if space has been made for you, maybe it's time to open up just a little more. Vulnerability is a two-way street. And I'm learning that choosing to trust is an active decision, not just a feeling. And this episode is a gentle call. It's a mirror. It's a letter from me to you, from me to myself as well. It's a journey. It's a call to you, to me, to all of us to keep making room for truth, for softness, for the little things that shape us. And to thank you for staying with me as well. And I hope to be a lot more consistent. And if you got to this end, or got to the end rather, thank you. Thank you. Until I come your way next time, it's Chels, and keep making space. And yeah, bye-bye.